This for future generations. And if anybody would not like to be on camera, you can sit over there on the right. Is that on, Claire?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Gary, we need a little more sound.
Not yet.
Okay. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to our welcome event at Don Mountain. And I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Janet Montes Diaz, and I'm a member of Don Mountain. I've been coming to Don Mountain for the past 6 years, and I really feel that Don Mountain has become a very important part of my life. Before coming to Don Mountain, I had been pursuing a spiritual path on my own. I had been doing yoga and meditation and reading esoteric philosophy books and also reading a lot about Buddhism. But I really have to say that the past 6 years I've developed most in a spiritual sense than any other time in my life. And not only has it been spiritual, but also I feel that all the different aspects of my daily life has improved. I don't get as stressed as I used to. I feel more compassion and understanding towards others. I feel I can get a lot accomplished during the day, and all these things. It's been because of what the teachings that I've done here and the practices that our teachers have given us. And not only that, but I really feel I'm very content and peaceful in my life, and I feel that I live my life with an open heart. And that's a wonderful feeling to have. And I've come to realize that just about anyone can benefit from the teachings that are offered here. These teachings are universal and timeless teachings. And they help you cope with daily life, but at the same time, they offer you a path towards the highest spiritual attainments that mankind can have. So it's really very, very special. And it really depends on what you're looking for, what you're seeking, and how determined you are to go in a spiritual sense. So that's why I really gladly volunteer to tell everyone about what we do and what we offer here. And all of this, it's really, we really base it all on the teachings that our teachers have given us. So I'd like to introduce you now to our teachers, the founding teachers of Don Mountain. We really are very fortunate to have them here in Houston. They're wonderful teachers, so I'd like to introduce you to Anne Klein and Harvey Arneson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Don Mountain really is here to provide exactly what Janet is describing in her experience. We were inspired to found Don Mountain in 1996 after spending really since our 20s practicing with Tibetan, particularly Tibetan and also Indian teachers of meditation. And one of the most inspiring things for me was the way in which their open-heartedness included both really wonderful stories and wonderful information, teachings about how the mind works, about how the heart works, about how they work together, about how a person's life can unfold differently if we give a little attention to the qualities that now may only be dormant in our being, but really a central teaching that we have is that it's possible for anyone to cultivate your inner garden, and there are very precise instructions for doing so. And this is what we love to share, and what keeps us doing this, because we both have full-time jobs other than this, what keeps us doing this is that it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding when someone like Janet comes, and like many of our friends come, and we all feel together that we are being enriched. And the inspiration is also coming from tremendous kindness of our teachers, who spent tremendous. We studied early in our path with Khyentse Sangpo Rinpoche, even then really a world-renowned figure in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, a scholar, a meditator, and just someone who seemed as soft as a flower. His energy was just very soft, very, very kind. Same time, a very rigorous teacher. And he spent hours and hours with us every day, just us, teaching us. Although he had a whole school to manage. That kind of generosity out of, I think, just knowing the value of what he had to offer, and that we really couldn't get it anywhere else. And so he offered it. And it's that, the full stream, the river of that kindness and that intelligence that continuously inspires us to keep offering teachings on mindfulness, on compassion, just on living life in a more lighthearted way.
We started in 1996 in Houston. We started over at the old hospice before it was even refurbished. And we spent some time at the Unitarian Church. And then we were over on Bissonnette, and now we've been in this location for about 7 years. What inspired me was in 1964, I attended a lecture by the then Richard Alpert, who was doing research on LSD, Oriental mysticism, and cognitive psychology. And he said many things. But what touched me most was his talk about sort of the way in which our minds get imprinted and get habituated and in many ways get bound, and that there was a possibility for much greater freedom and also much greater love. And he really was somehow able to convey palpably both that sense of freedom and that sense of love. And so I walked into that lecture, a chemistry major, and I walked out not seeking better living through chemistry, but really determined to find out everything I could about Asian religious practice. And in those days, even if you went to the Oriental bookstore that specialized in Asian books, you could find everything on Buddhism in maybe a bookshelf smaller than that display case that we have back there. And of course, the world has changed enormously in however many years it is. Maybe it's almost 50 years at this point. But I think the two things that I came away with from his talk was this whole issue of freedom and imprinting, habit, and the possibility of open-heartedness. And really, speaking for myself, I think that vision of greater internal freedom and greater open-heartedness has animated a very, very long search and practice history involved with Buddhism. And as Anne said, whatever little bit we have learned and gained and been blessed with, literally by the blessings of our teachers, we do wish to pass on and pass through us. We really see ourselves as conduits for the tradition. with a very, very particular set of skills and responsibilities that we carry, and that is we both know some of the Asian languages and are able to converse with Tibetan teachers in the original Tibetan language. And at the same time, we are thoroughly immersed in Western culture. And so we have this tremendous regard for the original culture, and also very, very personal realization of how that culture does or does not translate workably for modern 21st century Americans, people in the West. And so we are always walking this balancing act of wanting to preserve, translate, and transmit the original culture, while at the same time making it workable, apprehendable, and useful and beneficial for people here today. And we do that with some of our major programs. We teach an open meditation class on Sunday, which is open to the community at 11 o'clock. It's a very, very simple mindfulness of the breathing and a very, very simple chanting of the syllable hung, hung, that practice which was transmitted to us by our Tibetan teacher, Adzom Rinpoche. On the first and third Tuesdays in particular, we tend to run classes that are anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks period. So we have something in the fall period, and then we have something in the winter-spring period, and then we have something in the summer period. And those vary in topics. Sometimes we'll base them on a book. Sometimes we'll base them on specific practices. This summer we'll be doing a series that will be both about mindfulness and compassion. And then the other program we like to mention is the children's program for children from 5 to 12 right now. We would like to start including a teenage program, but that's going to take a little bit of time. And that program for children, right now we're running a 5-week program, and it's completely non-sectarian. It really emphasizes some nice human values and just teaching the children how to be present and aware of their experience in a richer, fuller way. So like this Saturday, we'll all be going out to the Arboretum, and I'll be talking to the parents, and Simone Woodage, who runs the parents program, will be working with the children. One of the things that we do like people to be aware of is that our classes on Sunday and first and third Tuesday are really non-sectarian. We do some blessings and prayers out of the Buddhist tradition, but we have had Jewish rabbis and prominent Protestant ministers come and attend our classes, some on a regular basis. And I think they both bring a lot and also benefit a great deal in attending and learning what we can teach by way of bringing people more into the present and opening their hearts. We all do, I mean, this is a bit both of, in a way, a belief, but also of a realization. We all have a lot of richness in our hearts. Most of us, whether it's due to the parenting we did or didn't experience, and or the fast pace of our culture, the multimedia barrage of everything that we're exposed to, are so covered over with a variety of patterns and conditionings that it's very, very hard for our natural heritage to emerge. And so the practices that we teach are really meant to help us learn more about who we are in the present, and to see if we can open ourselves up to our deepest heritage, our deepest human spiritual heritage, which is already there but needs a little bit of help in emerging. So we want to encourage you to come and participate and join as a community. In the West, we're a very, very individualized culture. and we value individuality, and it's a great, great feature of our culture, how we have honored individuality. But there's something very, very special to practicing and developing spirituality in a community setting. And that would be something that I would encourage you to come and see for yourselves. When people are meditating together, it's a bit like the sound that bees will make as a hive versus one bee individually. You know, there's just, you can hear it, but it's not very, very strong. But a lot of bees make a lot of music. And whatever the equivalent spiritual mutual resonance is a palpable something that we can experience together. And so we offer an opportunity for people to come together to practice.
I'd like to open this part of the program to any questions you may have at this time. We don't have a lot of time for questions, but we'll take 2 or 3 of them. So does anyone have any questions?
About anything that we've said or anything you might like to know about Dawn Mountain that is not yet clear to you.
And there are no bad questions. One of the things I want to make clear is that our teaching programs on Tuesday, there is a fee, but we never turn people away if there's any kind of lack of funds.
And we do welcome you, whatever your level of interest. So sometimes people come and maybe you're not, you're a little curious. You're curious enough to come through the door and, yeah, maybe you'll try it a little bit or you'll just kind of sit in the back and, that's fine. Just come. You don't have to buy into anything. Just come and see if it suits you. And then some people are really gung-ho and really want to establish a daily practice, and we very much want to encourage that because that's really where a lot of inner resources get developed in a daily practice, something as simple as just being with yourself and observing your breath, the kinds of practices that we do on Sundays. And then some people really want to get into a path very much in alignment with, in our case, the Tibetan tradition, and then there's tremendous richness, and we love to share that as well. So I want to make clear that we really welcome, and in fact our community does consist of people of very different orientations and levels of commitment, and between traditional and more modern, we could say, or modern simplified, and all of that is valuable. And we really, our mission is to support you in the way most appropriate to you, as far as we can understand that, either of us, to cultivate some of these qualities that help smooth life out. So you don't have to sign on the dotted line that you believe any particular thing. Some people are very strongly identified as Buddhists, some people are not at all, and that's fine. That's who we are. Anything? That didn't provoke any questions? Okay.
Okay, well, I'd like to have another one of our Sangha members come and give a short testimonial. This is Gary.
Do you need Billy to do something? Is it okay? All right.
Well, my name is Gary Gant, and I came here kind of through a circuitous route, to say the least. I spent about 30 years in the oil field, and most of it was overseas, and Far East and Middle East and India, Pakistan. And I met a lot of people that believed a lot of different things, and a lot of good people. And when I came back to the States after I retired, I decided it was time to figure out what I believed. And so I spent several years going through Christianity and Islam and looked at all all different shades of philosophy, and finally started reading a lot of Buddhism. And the more I read, the more it made sense, and I decided that I really wanted to pursue learning more about the Mahayana traditions and the Dzogchen traditions. And I began looking for teachers, and I ran across some books that Ann had written, and realized that we had, with Ann and Harvey, quite a resource in Houston. And Buddhist texts will tell you to be very skeptical when you're selecting a teacher, and really look at who they are, what their background is, and how they came to where they became teachers. And as I studied them and found out that both held PhDs in Buddhist studies, and what was more important, though, is that both had been given authorization as lamas by some of the great masters in the Buddhist tradition, which is, to me, is a lot higher recognition than the PhDs. They're all quite stratospheric type of achievements. And once that I got here, I realized that we have something that you can only find in a few places in the world, and that's teaching in the Buddhist tradition from the highest levels, from a Western perspective. And like they say, is you choose what you want to learn from them. They're willing to teach you the simplest meditation and the basics of human life from the Buddhist point of view, or just the philosophical point of view, all the way through the most inner secrets of the Tibetan Buddhist traditions. So we have quite a prize and quite a opportunity to be able to study under such great masters here in Houston.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Should we talk about what's coming up?
I don't know. Ask Janet.
Oh, well, if you want to talk about that.
The upcoming programs? What do you mean, the 21st?
Yeah.
So this is a great moment, actually, for you to start to get to know us, which we hope you're interested in doing, because we'd like to get to know you. On May 21st, we will have a mindfulness and other essential practices, the art of living your life, really an introduction to the kind of practice that is foundational for everything. A simple, profound mindfulness practice, simple, profound beginning of cultivating compassion. The path doesn't happen overnight. Don't expect to walk out the door a different person, but expect to walk out the door with the seed of something ready to blossom. That's May 21st, 7 to 9, and it's a free program. It's an introductory program. Bring your friends, bring your family.
Flyers are on the table.
There are flyers
Over here on the
designed this very day by, by Jerry. So they're on the
way
table.
On the way out.
Out there, and please pick one up, and you're very welcome. Every Sunday, as Harvey mentioned, at 11, we have a guided meditation that is genuinely welcoming. It's guided, so the explanation is there, what to do. There's no problem. You don't need any background. And people really like it. There's some people that just come on Sundays, or come for quite a while on Sundays, and then maybe start coming to other things. It's very, very lovely. It's very blessed, actually, by our teacher, who is an amazing figure inside Tibet, and we really recommend that. And then our summer series, which begins on June 4th, the first and third Tuesdays are our teaching Tuesdays every month. So if it's a first or a third Tuesday, we have a program. You can also like us on Facebook if you are that kind of a person. Hear about us that way, and on our website. But if you're on our list, we'll send you notices. So this is on mindfulness and compassion. Now, you've heard these words a lot tonight, mindfulness and compassion. They really each have quite a rich spectrum of understanding. There's mindfulness, there's deeper mindfulness, there's clearer mindfulness, there's more expansive mindfulness, and so on. There's compassion, and then there's equanimity, which builds toward compassion. Then there's love, which has a little bit different angle. Then there's compassion for yourself. There's compassion for other living beings. There's compassion for the whole universe. In other words, all of these words have many facets. And so what we do over time is we cover and explore different facets of these practices, and also wisdom. everything really is for the purpose of opening wisdom. So mindfulness, compassion, wisdom are central pillars, and they are decorated and have different aspects that we like to explore. So you're very welcome to come to that series. Yeah.
Okay, well, this brings us to the end of the program, but I'd like to remind everyone, you filled out a contact information card, and one of the reasons why we do this is we always like to contact the people that came to the program to see how you felt about the program. So you'll probably receive either a telephone call or email sometime this week, in the coming week. Just to ask you a few questions. So be ready for that. And you are welcome to stay for a while. And we have snacks in the back, and we can answer any questions you may have. So thank you for coming, and hope to see you again. Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you all for coming.
Thanks for your visit. We hope to see you again. And if you have any other questions that you didn't want to say in public, here we are.